Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and in this week's episode, we are sharing a little snippet from a Q&A call that Eric and I did inside of our Arise membership. Now, Arise only opens a few times a year. We're getting ready to open right at the beginning of August, and we want you to go visit learndobecome.com/arise if you are interested in becoming a member. We are having so much fun with our Arisers, and each month we're focusing on a new topic. We share some ideas. The community is here to contribute. We're all learning from each other, and these live calls are really fun. Plus, when you join, you get access to the full call from where this recording is taken. Plus, you have access to all the archives of what we've discussed up to this point. But we're not giving you a ton of stuff to overwhelm you. We're giving you just some bite-sized pieces that you can implement into your life and make significant progress each and every day. So I hope you enjoy this recording and hope you enjoy the conversation that was here. And we're so grateful you're here with us at Learn, Do, Become.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah. I'm April and Eric's daughter, and I help to manage our Arise membership. And the first question we're going to hear in this Q&A in this podcast is, what is your advice for strengthening our patience with ourselves? And in this Arise call, this was the very first call we did with the whole community, and we went through a worksheet called the Arise Gap Analysis and Action Plan. And essentially, we had the community look at where they used to be and where they currently are and where they want to be. And we focused on how we can overcome that discouragement or maybe levels of frustration or worry or not knowing where to go or how to progress in our lives, and how we can utilize our strengths and the things we're learning in Arise to really become what we have always dreamed of becoming and achieving our goals. So a lot of these questions here in this Q&A revolve around ourselves and how we can have patience and how we can lift others and ourselves at the same time while we're trying to progress towards our goals.
Okay, well, I'm very impatient with myself typically, but I'm learning not to be, so I'll share what I've done. This is where Dr. Burns has changed my life. This is David Burns, who wrote the book Feeling Good, Feeling When Panic Attacks, and his newest one is called Feeling Great. He taught me how to identify what the thoughts are. So, for example, when I am not feeling patient because I see something I want, first I identify, well, that impatience is telling me I really value what I want to do. I value this goal. I value my desire to be able to serve in a bigger way, or to be able to solve this problem, or, help with our children, or maybe improve something in our marriage. I value that. That's why I'm feeling impatient. Eric loves it if ever he's impatient. And I'm like, Eric, that impatience just shows how much you care. And he's like, thanks, April. I really needed
Super
that.
helpful.
But it does, right? I mean, you wouldn't feel impatient if you didn't care about the situation.
Yeah.
It's just a given. So it shows how much you care. And then I figure out what my thoughts are. And usually the thoughts are, April, you're not working fast enough. You're not good enough. You're not as such and fill in the blanks, as blank as that person. But one of the things I'm going to be talking about more in Arise is so I've been following this Caroline Girvin on YouTube. She has she does all these, and I talk about her way too much. Our team at our team retreat, they're like, okay, clearly April's a Caroline fan. Now, Caroline is muscular and strong, and she's been a personal trainer forever, and she's so good. And I do maybe 50 to 60% of her workouts because I'm just not as strong as she is.
She does the whole workout, but just 60%
I do the whole thing
of what she's doing each time.
But I can't always lift as much as she does or whatever. But I don't see well, then I should just stop because I'm not Caroline. I think, well, she's developed all of that strength over years, right?
Well, I also think the sideline of that is that phrase, comparison is the thief of happiness, right? And so anytime we look around, if we're looking around with an objective to see, okay, there's something in that person I'd like to develop toward, as opposed to comparing yourself, how do I stack up? Or will I ever be as good as that person? I think we look for attributes or an outcome that we'd like to try to work toward without trying to be, I need to be as healthy or as fast or as fit as she is. No, I like being able to have that example. I'm working toward that example. I'm becoming stronger in myself. So I think the only competition we have or comparison we have is with ourselves, who we are now and what we want to become. And so that kind of goes to this next question. Sometimes the hardest part is to determine where I want to be, that number one, right? That first thing. How do you guys determine that? I think that's a great question. And I think maybe the first nudges are something that you really feel strongly impressed toward, or it's in addressing a very deep pain point, right? Something that you feel needs to change immediately. And maybe that's the first area or some of the first things that you focus on. And then just think simply, okay, given that, whatever that category, that area of your life is, what would be something better, right? And maybe you could look at what's the best outcome eventually, but you can't move from here to that in one day or overnight.
And I would say, what makes your heart leap
Yep.
in that area? Because as you think about it and explore, you're going to find something that you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
that makes my heart leap.
So even if you're in a place of a pain point, right? What's a change you could make, an outcome that would be better? And if you could combine that, something that makes your heart leap, getting out of that pain point, more away from it to the ideal, that might be one of your first places you decide to invest time and energy making that progress. So I hope that's helpful there. And I love these other comments that are coming in, supporting and encouraging each other. Love that. Question comes in: how do you keep from falling down into depression when you have so many things you want to change and it seems overwhelming?
Okay, so Dr. Burns, my favorite psychiatrist ever, he had a podcast where he said, there's no such thing as stress. And I'm like, wait, what? I know I've pretty much been stressed like a lot in my life. Basically, he says there's a circumstance and then there's the thoughts you have about the circumstance. You can have two people in the exact same circumstance, and one can feel depressed and one can feel optimized and excited and optimistic. What's the difference? It's not just that one person's broken and one person's not. It's the thoughts that are going on in their head. And he helps you in his books to reframe your thoughts. This has been huge for me because most of my life, since I was 16 until probably last year, I've had like rashes that I would get whenever I was stressed. And Eric would know how I was doing by how many rashes I would have. And sorry, so this is TMI, but like I would get it on my arm or on my neck, especially like my neck, I'd get a lot of them. I don't have any rashes right now. And it's not because my life doesn't have the, requirements or responsibilities or things to think about. There's probably more to think about now than there's ever been in different ways, but it's because I'm learning how to change my thoughts. So I would say if you're feeling depressed, I would look into those books. Feeling Great, I'd get that one. It's pretty short. It's really comprehensive. It goes over what he talks about in all of his books. And he's shown me how you can reframe that, because most of those feelings of depression or anxiety come when you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm failing, I'm doing a bad job. And when you learn what those distortions are, if it's self-blame, if it's labeling, if it's magnification, he goes through all or nothing thinking. He explains what they are. And once you learn what your brain does and you learn how to change it, it's so good.
And what I'm loving about these questions, they're great questions. And these topics will actually become maybe subtopics we'll dive into and go really in depth for a month, and maybe even bringing on someone like Dr. Wood or Dr. Burns to talk about some of that stuff in the month. So that's what we're excited about the Rise. Because of this community that's assembled, a lot of these authors and specialists actually have an interest in being able to reach.
Keep talking. I'm going to get a tripod for Leah.
Okay.
Her arm is
Okay, gotcha. Anyway, so we're excited to go deeper in depth there. I'll actually just read another comment here that someone just said, comparison often gets a hard rap. It can really get in the way of happiness. On the other hand, maybe it can be just a tool. There have been times when I didn't even realize something was possible until I looked out of my own life and the way someone else was doing things. And I think that's so true. Like observation, maybe I'd call it more observation than comparison. But yeah, looking outside of everything and seeing a new way or a new possibility, that's really empowering. And really, you don't have to do it the way that person's doing it, and especially not day one. But I love that idea of using observation or comparison as a way of gathering information. But then, using your own life, your own abilities as a yardstick, not anybody else's. So appreciate you sharing that. Somebody else asked, how do you bring someone else up? Are you
I'm trying to get the tripod.
We're just getting it together. Keep on.
I need you to be.
I'm listening.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry.
How do you help? Okay. We'll bring April back.
We're figuring all this out. But here's the thing, we're not getting down on ourselves because we didn't have all of this figured out. This is our first
Well, we're
time.
actually really grateful that so many people have wanted to come onto the
We had
call.
no idea.
We shot way past what we thought was going to happen today. So that's wonderful. So somebody asked, how do you help bring someone else up when you find that they bring you down, but it also hurts you to see them down?
Okay, I love this question. First of all, I think it depends on the relationship. If it's a friend or neighbor, someone kind of distant from you and go back to the question because I need to look at it again, who's consistently bringing you down, that might need a relationship you need to like distance yourself from.
Or create some boundaries.
Some boundaries for sure. If it's like a spouse or a child and you're committed to the relationship, but you're just like overwhelmed and you know that it's a good relationship overall, like it's a healthy relationship or it has the potential to be, okay, then that's where then I think definitely we want to step into this. Bringing them up when they bring you down. Okay, so when it hurts you to see them down, I mean, we have this right now in trying to figure out how we work with our extended family, our children. What do you do if you see someone making a choice that's not making them feel healthy and happy and strong? This is where Eric and I have had to have a lot of discussions saying we need to recognize where it's our stewardship and then where it's their stewardship. So like, I think as a wife, it's my stewardship to listen to him, to be encouraging. He does the same for me. If I'm having a rough day, hey, April, let me hold you. How are you doing? We take care of each other. Is there something that I can do specifically? If that person doesn't want you to help them and they just want to maybe participate in some behavior that's not great for them, being able to say, well, that's that person's choice, but now I'm going to go do something healthy with my time and with my day. And Eric and I have learned how to do that for each other, where if I'm like, I'm having a rough time. Yeah. And we're not perfect at it, but we've learned how to say, you know what? It's not your job to make me happy or to like solve all my problems. It is your job to be my support, as it's healthy, but being able to set those boundaries and be able to say like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and go do this activity, or I'm not going to have this conversation right now because this isn't moving in a good direction, but I'm happy to talk later when you're, willing to discuss, right? So I think that boundaries is going to be huge. And Dr. Henry Cloud has great stuff on that. The book Boundaries, it's very biblical. So if you're not Christian, just know it's biblical, but I still think it's worth reading regardless,
good principles
regardless of if you're religious or not. It's really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, Patrick, that's a great question. Is there a reading list of your favorite authors?
Well, learndobecome.com/books. Goes to our Amazon store where we put
some of our favorite books and authors.
And we're adding to that too.
And I actually love, as that question was asked that we just answered earlier, I just read through the chat, there's like 2 or 3 people sharing their perspectives and their experience and their counsel on it. So again, that is how Arise is meant to work, is we post things in the Arise Facebook group. Post things there that you need and want to talk about or may feel comfortable talking about, because this is a collaborative, supportive community that we're trying to grow together, right? And again, it isn't the April and Eric show. Like, we're going to moderate, facilitate. Maybe just a quick thing, I'll share it more in a formal way. We had a chance to go to a little restaurant where during the winter, where it was just, a nice place, but there was a gentleman walking around the tables dressed in like a blazer and a nice shirt and a kind of matching pocket square that matched his shirt, his mask, and his pocket square. That was impressive.
Eric didn't even pay attention to the food. He was watching this guy the entire lunch.
Oh my goodness. I was just watching because he was just floating around the room, just visiting a little bit with each person at each table, making sure they're having a good experience, that their meal was good. And there was like really big fireplaces in the middle of the restaurant. And he also would go over there and just make sure the fire was stoked and banked and tended. And the logs were huge. The fireplace was pretty wide. So he's this big gentleman, putting in big logs into the fire, but keeping the fires burning brightly, making sure everyone was having a good experience and a good time there. And I just really looked at him as kind of like this host, this concierge. And I actually spent some time talking with him after, because I was just like really taken aback by just this level of care. And I asked him what his role was. And he says exactly what I described. Like, I'm here to make sure people have a wonderful experience here.
He doesn't take orders.
Yeah,
he doesn't
his
serve.
name's David, and he just makes sure everyone has a wonderful experience and just feels connected and, enjoys and appreciated. And so I kind of, in a way, look at that and our team at Learn to Become, especially with this Arise community. Like, I'm so excited. Maybe I'll go find a mask and a pocket square and a shirt that match. But like, we're excited to just be hosts and try to connect and make sure your experience here is one of positive growth, of improvement, of connection, and being able to move forward in these areas that, again, we've defined, I think collectively as a community, we've defined as being important. But that's one of the things I get most excited about Arise for, just being able to be part of this community each month and kind of helping to facilitate and encourage these connections and this growth.
So. Well, and you'll find that our goal is to ask more questions and create like frameworks for you. Like the worksheet we created today, we just came up with that yesterday because we were talking about the call, and we've been thinking about you and talking about you for, weeks now. But as we were thinking about this specific call and we started putting together a framework, we're like, well, sometimes a worksheet's helpful because we want you asking yourself questions. Most of the work you're going to do in Arise is your own introspection and being able, and you might shift some of the questions we ask. You might not like the way we asked them, and you'll change the question to better meet your needs. Fantastic. Like, extra credit for that. It's all about you serving you and figuring out, hey, what do I need right now in my life? And we've created this because we found, like, in the world today, there's not a whole lot of opportunity of people really coming together and thinking in a very healthy, positive way and encouraging each other. Like, this is really, I think, needed. So I love what we hear from you guys.
Well, just on that thought, we've been reading a lot of books about just thinking, the power of positive thinking and action that comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I came across was a statement that says, some of the most powerful answers or directions or insights are going to come from people answering their own questions. Does that make sense? So if we can ask collectively as a community, or if we ask a few very powerful or introspective questions, a lot of the very best direction for your life, a lot of the best, insights and inspiration you'll get will come through you, from yourself. Does that make sense? In response to considering that question or that topic. And so again, it's not us telling you, okay, here's how you should live your life and here's the right answer to everything. It's asking the right questions and getting us to think and to take the time to really open our minds, our hearts, and just really consider our lives, what we want from them. And then we promise you the answers, the ideas, the inspiration will flow, and you guys are going to be the source of your own very best information.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation, and I'm grateful for the good that you are doing in your life, in your homes and families and neighborhoods. You are making a difference, and the time that you're investing here at Learn, Do, Become will help you to be able to take your unique skills and abilities so that you can live your purpose and be able to be a strength and a lift for those around you. We love you. We're so grateful you're here, and hopefully you are excited about joining the Arise membership officially. We would love to get to know you more. We'd love to work with you on a more personal level. And this community that we have inside of Arise truly has some of the greatest souls I've ever seen, and I'm so grateful for them and the good they contribute, and know you would love them as well. So you can find out more at learndobecome.com/arise. Have an amazing day.